Hello, beautiful hearts. Welcome back to my channel. I am here once again with Joanna Pitt, evolutionary astrologer, and I'm so happy. It's been a while, actually, about what, a month or two since we popped on, and I'm just so happy to be here with you again. Um, we decided that we were going to be talking about, well, I guess all things hidden and energetics and what that can look like or how that can manifest in the body and the fields. And I thought we would just kind of break it down and speak heart to heart, and then pull up some of the energetics and also the astrological components of what you may be experiencing in your dream time, as well as obviously in reality. So, welcome, Joanna.
Thank you, Jen. I'm so happy to be here. And yeah, this has just been a very interesting time this year, our conversations
Mm,
over the course of the last several months. And I think that it's been really wonderful, I think, for me to just experience these shifts and changes within myself and also within friends and community members, and seeing the energetics of the world and consciousness shift so much so fast. But what's
mm,
been so beautiful as well is that people are really waking up and tuning into it, and they know something is going on, and they know there are changes afoot, and they're hoping to rise to the occasion and really get clarity about these energies and the movement and the changes that are happening within them. And I think that this is, from an astrological perspective, this is the shift of Pluto out of Capricorn into Aquarius, that we're in literally the final stage of. The final shift is happening on November 19th or 20th, depending on your time zone. I think it's Europe, it's the 20th, and in the US, it's on the 19th of November. So just a couple weeks away. And there's an energy happening right now that is amplifying this in a very potent way that I
mhm.
wanted to talk about, because we were just saying, the sun is in Scorpio. We're here talking on the new moon in Scorpio, just after Halloween, Samhain, very potent, energetic time. And in 2 days, actually, the planet Mars is going to oppose Pluto. So Mars is in the sign of Cancer, which is the sign of home, family, ancestors, our physical body, meaning the home of our soul, and
Mhm.
also the physical home, the structure where we live, and also our country of origin and our homeland energy. Mars is a fighter. Mars is a warrior, an athlete. Mars is blazing trails. There's a lot of fire here in the waters of life, in the waters of our feeling state and our energetic state and of our nervous system. And it's opposing Pluto in Capricorn, which is about structures and discipline and authority, governments, bureaucracies, systems, the media. And there's a push-pull in this frequency right now, where we're like, we don't know where we're going to land. And there's fear there, but also excitement. And the intuition is coming on very strong with Mars in Cancer. And I think that I definitely would love to talk to you about more about that from an energetic perspective. But I have to tell you that my clock just turned to 11:11 a.m. So now we're at
Of course.
11:11, 11:11 here on the West Coast. So I'm very pleased to pass it over to you and hear what the guides have to say about it.
I love it. All golden nuggets. And absolutely, this is all about coming home, within the bodies, within the energetics. And I think, as you were saying, and we certainly were talking about it before in terms of the emotions and what that can bring forth in terms of the energetics, not just in the physical body and the emotional bodies, but how that has a ripple effect, through consciousness, obviously, through our comings and goings and interactions with others and the collective, as you were saying, our homeland, but also family interactions and home within our bodies and fields, and all the things that are being triggered right now. Everything's coming up again. But as you were mentioning, this is a very potent and powerful time. And I believe that we are all at different levels of our evolution based on our awareness. And I truly believe that collectively, it is up to all of us to take responsibility of our inner home, our dwelling within us, and create a place, a space of safety, and and also you were talking about authority, of self-authority, to really reclaim our inner, our power, our truth, and to recognize, okay, who am I now? Where am I choosing to be, to go? How am I choosing to interact? And as I stand on this land, what direction? Because we're all doing this together. We're all navigating, as you were saying, these waters, our emotions together. And the more grounded, centered, focused, moving into the deep wisdom within, the more that we are able to navigate this and collectively elevate to these higher levels of consciousness. Because as you said, we are shifting, we're moving into the Aquarian age, which is all about, well, I mean, obviously, it can be about artificial intelligence, but also science, and higher intelligence, higher mind, higher consciousness. So, one of the things that came forth from the guides before I hopped on this call that I want to bring forth to set note to, and I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. Wisdom is found within the still point of your soul. The wisdom is found within the still point of your soul. And I think it's important for all of us to find that still point and to create that place and those spaces where one can commune to these higher levels of understanding, and to know that, you know, we are all being directly guided to the people, to the places, to the circumstances based on our own wisdom, based on our own level of awareness. So I pulled some cards to kind of set pace with this, and then we'll move into some of the techniques and obviously what's speaking through the charts. So the first card that came up was really interesting, was conflict and defeat. And I know just from my I shouldn't, my Instagram channel, and also just from chatting with you too, what's been happening around a lot of people. There's a lot of things that have been coming up that are making you question or maybe second guess, and obviously making perhaps you feel or others feel that I can't take this anymore, or enough's enough. How much, you know, how many times do I need to go around this, through this? The second card that came forth is relationships. This is about trusting relationships. This is the water. This is the queen of water. And this card is saying tender-hearted, patience, loving, take care of yourself and others. We have another lover's card. Interesting. Clearly, there's lots to be chatted about lovers. Um, this is carefully weigh your decisions. This is about intimate relationships with yourself and others, on communication and moving into the depths of what love means to you and your relationships. Um, then we have the authority card that came up. And then we also have the abundance card. This is about business adventures, documents, contracts, things like that. So those are the cards that came forth for this. So let's maybe discuss the first card that came forth was conflict and defeat. I mean, this can be showing up. We can talk about in terms of, I mean, look at the US right now, what's going on right there.
Yeah. It's
Feeling.
hard to know where to begin. I mean, we're talking right before the US election. Um, it's a time of polarization. And one of the things that's been very interesting is that a lot of this is made up
Mhm.
by the media and by people and disruptive agents that want to sow discord. And so this is actually something to consider as we move into the age of technology, move into the Aquarian age, and as you mentioned at the top, AI, where there are bots and like accounts that are computer generated that people aren't, they're not real people behind it. And so it's very important for all of us to really tune in to the information that comes our way and to think, you know, for one, is this authentic? Is this authentic information of where it's come from? Could
Mm.
it be computer generated? Is it, you know, is it I don't know what they call it, like a destructive, you know, like frequency, right? That's here to create instability and confusion and chaos. And or is it actually like a person that is offering an opinion that might be different than mine that I want to actually consider it and really use my intelligence to, you know, address it and understand that like maybe is something to be learned through conflict and to create a scenario where you can have a debate with somebody that is not destructive. And it's just fascinating where it's like a lot of people have these very strong opinions now. And we see these, you know, it's like, it's come up as like jokes on the news or on late night television where you ask somebody like, well, what do you think about this? And they give you the answer. And then you say, well, what does that mean? And they literally have no definition for the thing that they're
Mhm.
defending or trying to like, you know, be smart about. And it's very fascinating how we as humans sort of hold on to information to sort of justify who we are and our place in the world. And so we're all dealing with this. And this is, again, part of this shift from Capricorn into Aquarius. And it's not an easy answer, though I want to offer for people to really think about this of what information am I reading? Who's behind it? Where is it coming from? Is it aligned or not aligned with my own worldview? Is there something I can learn from this? Is this opening my heart? Is it opening my mind? Does it line up, as you were talking about, that deep intuitive wisdom from the soul? Is this something that can expand my soul? Is this something that can elevate me? And the conflict and the discord, as we see in that card, it's very heavy. And so I
Mhm.
think a lot, you know, I don't want to say a lot, but it's certainly come up for me, you know, a lot of, I guess I should say, in my sphere, more and more people are turning off their televisions. More and more people are turning off social media and tuning it out and just saying, like, I need to just go it within, understand what's important to me, what my values are, and speak from there and not engage in this, because again, it's like, it's interesting that card also, the guy's going down. Like there's nowhere, this is not an elevating, uplifting, forward movement, it's dark and it's cloudy and it's smoky and the direction is.
But as you were saying, though, that is illusion.
Yeah.
It is illusion that has been a program, a false narrative that has been on repeat for how many generations. You were talking about our ancestors and ancestry. I mean, this is up to us to go within, down, to move in, as you were saying, and rewire, reprogram the narrative. And as you say, take our power back by turning the control to off and turning the volume up to our inner wisdom and our inner dialogue, you
And
know?
I think too, it's interesting, very important, this sort of understanding and deeper, contemplation of this frequency, because as here we are, sun is in Scorpio. Scorpio is about transformation, and Scorpio in the modern rulership is ruled by the planet Pluto, and in more ancient rulership it's by Mars. And here we have a Mars-Pluto opposition. So these two frequencies about power and transformation are at play right now, and it can be very fiery and can be very tense, and it also can be very powerful in that if you go underground, go down into the depths of your psyche, down into the depths, if you want to say, of hell, or of, in tune into this God, the God Hades, the God of the underworld, and go into the underworld, into the shadows, to integrate and reveal what has been hidden, and then bring it forward in a new way with a new perspective. And again, I think tuning into that wisdom is incredibly important, because some of this stuff is ancient and it's not ours, and some of it is ancient and it is ours and it needs to be healed. And I think that in our previous conversations around the divine feminine and the divine masculine, this is that integration point, and it can be dark and it can be lonely and it can be scary. And what we're seeing in the conflict and the fear out in the world is a reflection of what's happening inside. Change is not easy, but what a wonderful opportunity we have as witnesses to live in this time, to really tune into that and go through this alchemy, like a new, just to come up with the new path forward. I think it's really beautiful.
I love that. I was hearing the reflections of self through the self, through the alchemy. It's up to us. And I'm just going to pull this next card with this. Is you were saying the divine feminine. We've been also talking about this. This is something that's been really highlighted. The guys have been bringing it through. This is the rise of the divine feminine, the changing of the guards, the new way, the new order, all things feminine, as well as the connection to divine Mother Earth and the healing frequency, the feminine essence within her new earth template. And this card calls forth is the queen of the water, the queen of our emotions, to really harness. This is all, again, this is self-responsibility, self-accountability, and the reflection that we are seeing in others, and how we are choosing to react to it. It's entirely up to us. And I think, this card also issues the relationships, developing a new level of trust. And, uh, you know, I'm gonna take this as a a point to, we are being called to drop into the depths of ourselves to listen deeply without the outside distraction of everything that's going on right now, all the noise. And we are being called to trust, as you were saying. How do you know if something is true or if it's false? If it's a bot, if it's made up? And the thing is that there is nothing and no one that can stand before your own truth. The wisdom of your intelligence knows. And this is what we have been guided to do. This is something that is being really focused on now, and it will carry us forward into the years. Is this relationship to ourselves and the deepening of that trust and how we navigate through that, how we navigate through those waters. And I was chatting with Joanna first, and I thought I wrote down a few that I wanted to discuss on here. As a lot of and I'm sure you run across this with your clients, and I certainly do when I'm working in self-development and mentorships, as many people, including myself, I'm not excluding myself from this, can get caught up in our everyday. And many of us are running on autopilot through our lives. Many of us are fight and flight, and our bodies, coming home to our bodies, there is a disconnect or an uncertainty. And so I wrote down a few things, and maybe we can just briefly go deeper into this. And one, I wrote down mindfulness and meditation techniques. These are going to help ground. These are going to help center you, ground you, as well as breathing exercises, deep diaphragmatic breathing, or other breathing techniques. And obviously we do a lot of this in Kundalini, but there are other ways that you can connect, even just if you've never tried yoga, even, the four-part breath, where you're drawing the breath in for 4, holding for 4, exhaling for 4. I mean, I've talked about this. If you've been following me this long, you know that I'm a nature lover. I find so much healing in nature. Nature is our natural healer, and nature is here to help us. So nature, exposing yourself to nature, whether grounding, letting the sun help, tree energy, water energy. We talked about this on the last video. So if you didn't watch our last video, hop over and watch our last video. We talk about that. Making healthy choices. These are healthy choices, setting healthy boundaries. This is a full-on episode all itself on healthy choices, which we should probably do one episode on that. And there are a few more, but I'll just cut this one off. I think it's really important moving forward that we create communities of like-minded people that, we can have intellectual conversations with and grow and evolve and help and build and cherish, and let go of the old structures of, the corporate ladder or competition, and understand that we are all here and that we all have a unique gift. And what I have seen is that what has been part of the program is that everybody has to do the same thing, and we don't. We're not here to do the same thing. We are here to bring forth that wisdom. We are here to bring forth our unique gifts and our offerings. And we are here to build this new template together. So letting go of the old ideas and creating this sense of unity, of heart frequency within that new pulse, is the direction forward. And what some of the things that I listed: mindfulness techniques, being out in nature are just some of the things that, I mean, you can do. And if certainly if I left anything out, I mean, clearly there are a few others, but if there's anything that you would like to add to that, Joanna, please.
I think the one I would add, first, I think all of those are wonderful. In terms of nature, one piece I wanted to add too is sometimes I'll take my phone out and start taking photos. And
Mhm.
I think that also helps just tuning in, like, look at this leaf and take a photo of it and go deep into it and look at the veins, like really take a minute to experience it. Because I also think putting your attention through a lens in some way might just give you an extra minute or so to look and deepen the connection. Touch,
Mhm.
certainly. It's not always easy to, if you're going on a nice long walk or a hike, to start touching everything on the
No,
way.
but sensory is
But it
huge.
can, yeah. Or, obviously we say stop and smell the roses or stuff like that, but it's like, and then take a photo and then you have the thing. And someone was just looking through my phone and I had some photos of flowers I took on a walk and they were like, this is amazing. Look at that. And you just have another perspective of it. So I just wanted to say that too. But the piece that I wanted to add was language.
Mhm.
As part of your mindfulness practice, whether that is more of a meditative expression experience, tune in and really listen to the words that you are saying.
Mhm.
We have a tendency, particularly women, because we've been conditioned this way and taught that our opinions and perspectives are not as important, for example.
Yeah.
And there's a tendency to tell a story about what we want or something along those lines. And at the tail end, well, maybe something like that, if that works, right? There's a diminishing. And I'm finding that more and more, I'm listening to my own language and listening to other people's language as a reflection of my own. I play tennis a couple of times a week with a group of women, and the number of times that the word sorry has been used on that tennis court is shocking. We're literally playing a game. Nobody has to apologize for hitting a bad shot or hitting it in the net or losing a point. Professional tennis players don't apologize when they miss a
Yeah.
point, right? But
Mhm.
for some reason, we've taken it on ourselves that if we're not perfect and every point is positive and moving the game
Yeah.
forward, that we have something to apologize for or to be shamed about. And it's simple. And I think this is something that's been in the zeitgeist a long time, that women often apologize for their opinions or their words or not, I didn't go to school for that. So I might really not know what I'm talking about. Things like this. This is incredibly important. And again, as we move into this information age that we are already in, and it's just getting stronger and stronger and stronger, our words have power.
Mhm.
And to really tune into the language is incredibly important. So words like should, have to, ought to have, I wish I didn't, negative words along those lines, obviously, sorry. The word just, I
Mhm.
just called to say, it's like I didn't just call to say, I called you deliberately to tell you my thought. Let's be clear about this. Let's demonstrate wholeness in our intelligence and in our ideas. So language would be the other piece of the embodiment that I would really offer for people to tune into, as just as much as the body, the breath, the nature, the foods we eat. Are
Mhm.
we noshing because we're bored? Are we eating junk food because it's convenient? Are we spending time cooking a meal with our loved ones?
Yeah.
And even getting on the phone. I mean, often I'm on the phone with people while I'm cooking dinner and I'm talking and eating at the same time, and they're, 3 time zones away. And that's okay also, because that is a community energy. And if you are alone, living alone, schedule time with a friend and, have tea together over the phone, or, have cook something, enjoy, watch a television program at the same time. There's ways to have connection with people in our lives that is not obvious.
Mm-hmm.
They potentially feel awkward. I don't want us to limit ourselves in these ways as we come into this embodied state. As long as we're bringing awareness to it and it's kind of funky and weird, well, who cares, right? Who cares? I have a friend in the Midwest, and they take walks in the afternoon, and I'm, here on the West Coast, and it's different time zones, and we're walking at the same time, and we're exercising, and we're out in nature, and we're having a conversation, and it's totally beautiful to have that communion. I really want to offer that to people as we're thinking about embodiment. It doesn't need to look a certain way.
No, absolutely not. I think that, it's really important, as I've mentioned, that we are all on this path. However, individually, we're all growing and evolving too. And we, this whole thing of comparing or apologizing is something that we should leave in the past. There is nothing to be sorry about. Um, I mean, obviously, if you're doing something that is disrespectful, then yes, but this is not what we're talking about, and you know what we're talking about. Um, and I love how you pointed out about the language, and we've talked about this on other episodes, and I love how you're bringing it up again. It is, and it's really important, and it's encoded with, energetics of how our body responds, how other people respond to us, the energy that we're holding, that we're carrying, how confidently we move through the room. And you were saying the word sorry, or when you question, that is held in your body and people can feel it, and you carry that, right? And then that only echoes into the next phase of your relationships or circumstances. So, you know, take this opportunity to create that sacred container within yourself, to breathe, to use your sensory perceptions, to get clear before speaking. And this is where, the nervous system is really important, because if you don't take the time, especially as women, because we are natural caregivers of everyone and everything around us, it's just natural for us. You want to call up a girlfriend, you want to make sure they're okay, you want to make sure everyone's okay. But I think it's really important that we check in with ourselves first, as a reminder to just say, and I certainly do this myself. I put my hand on my heart, I put my hand, on my lower belly, and I just say, how are you today, Jen? How are you feeling? What's coming up for you? And sometimes it's like, oh, yeah, I'm a little sad, or I can feel this, or I need more water, I need to breathe, or maybe I need to laugh, or maybe I need to create. But at every moment throughout the day, and certainly days and weeks, it's different every time. And I think it's important that we stop comparing and expecting what it should be, and just really listen to our bodies and what's coming up within us, to kind of set the stage. And that's, the card that comes forward is the authority card, the self-authority.
And I love, can you pull that card up again?
Yeah,
So one of the interesting things, often we don't see this with, this is a man in the image,
of
is
course.
the line. I mean, we see this halo around. So this is the arc line that goes, ear to ear, whatever. We see it in photos of saints. And this arc line is very important. It's certainly beautiful here because it's clean and it's not disrupted, but this is also energy that we're holding in our sphere. The arc line is the base of the aura, and to have a really clear arc line is important because this is how the intuition is directed. This is how information comes in and goes out. And we hold so much energy there in terms of that higher consciousness, as you were talking about earlier. So if you are standing in your complete power, if you are standing in the space of responsibility for yourself and not another person or another situation, there's a lot of beauty here, and it gives you even more power and strength to show up in a complete manner where you can get guided and directed from that higher sense that it has just it again, it's got more clarity and it's not tainted by other people's expectations or a program from, the family or your culture or the community or what the media says. And so it's very important. And I also wanted to say too, in terms of interacting with other people, whether it's a family member or a partner, a friend, a business relationship, a colleague, a lot of times we put our expectations and energy on somebody else, expecting them to do what we want them to do, that they may or may not even know what it is that we want. And I think the more that we're tuned into our own personal space and ideas and nature and our own soul's perspective and our own wisdom,
Yeah.
then we can engage with clarity and understanding and compassion and empathy. But if we don't have that and we're not solid on our end, then we get a lot of miscommunication, we get a lot of confusion and conflict, and it can be very destabilizing energetically. So to come back into our own physical space, back to the embodiment of our own energy field, is incredibly important before we have a dialogue with somebody else.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, the message keeps coming back again and again and again to take I can hear the guide say it's part of the recipe for success. If you're baking a cake and you forget the eggs, um, or any other ingredient, it is not going to rise. So it's part of our job as we show up as higher beings of light on this earth through this evolutionary process to take the time to set these steps up for success. I posted on my Instagram, personal power in action. The choices that you make are the choices that you choose. If you don't like the choice, change it. Instead of reflecting, or sorry, not reflecting, instead of blaming, I guess it's kind of a reflecting. You get to choose the direction that you're leading. So take the steps, as you were saying, to be confident in your choices in this card. Like, this is an authority card. This is a confident card.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's felt. And we all know when a woman, certainly a man, but when a woman walks into a room and she's confident, it is felt. It is known, and there is no mistake about the energy that she harnesses when a woman walks in the room and she knows who she is and she knows what she wants. And certainly if we look at the polarity of it, someone that is not as sure of themselves, second guessing, fearful, that is felt in the body. So it's interesting that this card came up as a reminder of what we need to do and how we need to walk the earth with confidence and with authority. And shall I bring up the last card?
Yes.
We're almost out of time. It's the Lovers card. Intimate relationships. So I'll just touch on a few things that the guides, and then we'll kind of go back and forth. What I have been noticing collectively is that a lot of relationships, intimate relationships, close relationships, this could be family relationships, this could be obviously romantic relationships, are under the microscope because we're being called, as we evolve in our consciousness, we're calling our soul partner or relationships, family dynamics to show up on a deeper level. And because we're doing the inner work, we are then, if the relationship that we are connected with is not of that, those relationships will be under review. And so, what I am certainly seeing and feeling collectively is a lot of relationships will end with the deeper communication that is being reflected. Hey, I am now ready for this type of love. I am now ready for this type of meaningful connection. I am now ready to do the work within me to have that. That may scare the shit out of me, but I am now ready because I really feel that there's this internal shift as and we've talked about this, the divine union of hearts. This is the balance between the divine feminine and masculine within relationships, but within our bodies. Fine tuning that and really making that commitment to say, hey, I'm now ready. So, yeah, this is that deep connection within our intimate relationships. The Lovers, self-love, self-worth, value, honesty, integrity, deep connection, deep communion within self and another. All of this is coming up for review. And I'm sure some of you, because of this, are feeling connections of past relationships and dream time, or running into relationship dynamics that need to be addressed. 100%. This is coming up on the collective. 100%.
Astrologically, this has been a theme since July of 2023. The nodes of the moon, which represent our karmic and destiny-oriented frequencies of the body and the spirit, have been transiting through the signs of Aries and Libra again since July of 2023, and they're moving out basically January 1st, 2025, into new signs. And so between now and the end of this year, this is in some ways the culmination of this theme, as you very beautifully described it. The forward movement, the destiny path forward is that Aries, the self energetic, the who am I? What do I want? What do I believe about myself? And am I authentic in the me of my soul? And then we go into the relationship part, which is the part that's being released and adjusted and, not even, I don't even want to say like, it's not messy the way that things are falling apart. In some ways, it's very clean the way things are just, this letting go frequency. It's because the more you stand in your authenticity, the easier it is to say, you're not a match for me. And that's okay. This business relationship needs to end. This romantic relationship needs to go away. I thought I wanted this in a partner. And now that I'm seeing it, I understand that it is not aligned with me, and or I'm not aligned with myself. And I have to get myself right first in order to be present for this relationship. So both parts have to happen at the same time. And, this is obviously, we know in our own natal astrology charts, the nodes both are there, the South Node and the North Node, where we've been, where we're going, what needs to be adjusted and released versus moved, engaged with and kind of pushed forward in a way that feels painful, perhaps, but necessary. And so absolutely, this idea of in unequal partnership or projections of other towards other people, which, by the way, aligns with some of that conflict and defeat that we were talking with
First
earlier.
part.
When relationships are out of balance and you're feeling overwhelmed, you lose yourself. And we've seen this, I mean, we're human and we've all been in, junior high school, and particularly women, and in relating to other women, there's all kinds of power plays and who's the queen bee of the group, and what do I need to do to fit in, and how do I wear the right clothes for those people to like me, and I really want that boy to notice me.
Yeah.
Why do I have to cut my hair? I have to, put on a cheerleader outfit, like whatever the thing is. And it's fascinating because as humans, we've been going through these energetics almost our whole lives. And as we get older and more mature, we realize, hopefully, and see these things for what it is these small compromises that we've made along the way. To bring in a partner, I need to downplay my intelligence. To have a equitable home life, we have to make adjustments. And obviously some of this it's important and necessary for harmony. But if we don't know the behaviors and the things that are out of balance, where we're complaining about certain things, like there actually is a want behind the complaint.
Yes.
Identifying
Absolutely.
these things, right? And it's like you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like the relationship might actually be incredibly positive, but an adjustment might need to be made. So again, I think we're still in this between now and the end of the year. Watch, listen again to your own embodiment when you're engaging in a relationship. Even if it's like, I'm calling the lawyer because I need a new, there's issues with my landlord or something like this. Where is the imbalance? Where are we standing or not standing in our own authenticity? What do we want? Clarity is key. And then hopefully we figure it out and move through the thing and bring forth those relationships that are of value to us and that really showcase our own beauty and our own truth and our own wisdom and our own loving hearts and the balance of the feminine and masculine within. It's really lovely to have this opportunity. And I think that's one of the great things about, tracking the astrology, is we can see these themes come in and then move towards the next, and the next round, what's coming in 2025 is different, but it builds on what we've done now. It builds on having stable relationships and a clear purpose of self and our own identity and our own self-authority, as we've been talking about, our authenticity, our embodied physical space, our auric fields, our energy, that like, what is the energy that we're emitting? What is the energy that we're drawing in? All of that is an attunement. And it's been really fascinating to watch and experience. And certainly you and I have had many conversations about this. Many times you've said to me, watch those words, Joanna.
As I say to myself, but yeah. Yeah.
Like, because they affect all of this in terms of, what we believe about ourselves, and then what we're looking for in a partner potentially, and how we're relating to a lover, a partner, a friend. We'll see what happens. Let's see, and if it's not you and you can't see it, pick somebody that you know and look at them through these lenses.
Yeah.
Watch them, watch their energy, see how they've been handling it.
Well, all relationships are a reflection of ourselves, and it's part of the illumination of who we are. And I feel like certainly you and I um, are all about healing and growing and evolving, and we know that we have a part to play. And I believe everybody watching on this channel, they're ready. They're ready to take action, to make, to, how do I say this? To take responsibility for themselves. But I think moving forward, to just kind of summarize everything, honor who you are and where you're at. And for heaven's sakes, be gentle, because we don't have to have it figured out. We don't. We are figuring it out as we go. There is no set course timeline. We are evolving at different states, right? And that these higher timelines, this new earth is already here.
Mhm.
Is it tuning into this? So, as you were saying, step back, take witness to what is being reflected to you from another, make the adjustments that are needed, and give more love to yourself. That's what I'm going to say, because um, I feel that we are moving into this heart expanded timeline more and more, and you can never give yourself enough love, because the more you give yourself, the more you can give to another. It is giving and receiving this love. Yeah,
I want to add to
of course.
this: witnessing where you are right now, in my experience, has been the key. I
Mm,
am in a state of confusion. I am in a state of calm and uncertainty of what comes next. I am in a state where everything is manifesting somewhere, but perhaps not in the 3D. And I'm in a state where things are manifesting now. I am in a state where I'm falling in love now. I am in a state of growth now. And the beingness in those states, I can speak for myself, of this year, 2024, from the beginning to now, has been the most impactful, and to stay present with what is. There's just been a massive amount of
you
calmness.
have, yes, there's been so much happening in your,
Yeah.
yeah.
And also in this year, there's been periods where nothing's happening, and I was kind of spinning out, and just a lot of, but that was part of it. And it was like, okay, I'm in a time where there's so much confusion, and I don't like this behavior, and I'm watching my mind and I'm watching my body, and things are disoriented, and that's okay. And then it was almost easier to move through these transitions because of the awareness. And
Mm-hmm.
that, I think, is part of the embodiment that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And so certainly it's like, watch the breath, watch the words, watch, be in nature, tune into the water, go, do the things, feed ourselves, nourish ourselves. And this awareness has been real. It's just been very key to move through this time and space, and it's gone a lot faster this way versus being completely out of the body, completely unaware, and just, the head under the sand and, when you're just not paying attention. And so allowing without judgment
Yeah.
this time of awareness. And maybe it is pulling an oracle card and tuning into that for the day and using that as today's energy I'm going to align with is this. So regardless of the noise, et cetera, that's going out in the world or in your life, work, et cetera, family, chores, allow the beingness and the presence to keep us centered to move through these times.
Yes. Beautiful, Joanna. The guides are saying too, follow the signs of nature. Follow the signs of nature. So before we go on for another half an hour, because I know you and I could talk forever, I'm going to end it here. But I want to thank you for coming on again, and everyone listening. Thank you so much. Make sure that you post any comments. And if you want to reach out to Joanna or myself, I will leave the links below. We are sending you so much love, and we will talk to you soon. Bye for now.